The warning light blinked once, then stayed on, like an unblinking eye. Mina kept her hands steady on the controls, but her chest felt tight. The radio crackled again with the same sharp voice from the tower. Return to base now. Do not change course. Do not attempt an off-route landing. Mina looked down at the map screen. Her plane was on a routine training route, nothing special, nothing risky. She was supposed to practice a simple loop, a clean turn, and head home before dark. But the instruments were not acting normal, and the air felt wrong. She checked the fuel line reading again. It dipped, then rose, then dipped again. Her engine sound was still smooth, but not as smooth as it should be. It was like a person trying to hum while hiding a cough. Mina swallowed and spoke into the mic control. I am reading unstable fuel pressure. I need permission to divert. The response came fast. Negative. Return to base immediately. Maintain heading. Mina's eyes flicked to the horizon. The sky was clean and pale, but the wind pushed in odd waves. Her training told her to obey. Her instincts told her to prepare. She had learned instincts the hard way. Years ago, her father had been a rescue worker. He used to tell her one line again and again. Rules save people when they match reality, but reality does not ask permission. Mina did not want trouble. She did not want to be the pilot who made a headline for the wrong reason. She wanted to land safely, file a report, and drink tea at home. But as the plane moved forward, the warning light stayed on. Then her headset hissed, and a different sound slipped into the line. It was not speech. It was a thin, broken pattern, like a tiny burst of music made from static. Mina froze for half a breath. That pattern felt familiar. Not from flying, but from childhood. Her father used to carry a small radio when he went out at night. Once, when Mina was very young, she heard the same kind of broken rhythm. Her father's face had changed, like he had heard his own name in the dark. He had not explained it then, only said, "If you ever hear this, remember the lake." Mina had not thought about that sentence in years. The lake. Which lake? He never said, and she never asked. Now the static pattern repeated, and Mina's skin prickled. She looked at the navigation map again. To her left, far off the route, there was a small lake marked with a plain blue shape. The name on it was simple. Lake Nor. Mina's mouth went dry. Lake Nor was not near any town. It sat in a quiet area with thin roads, old trees, and empty land. People did not go there unless they had a reason. Her fuel reading dipped again. And the static pattern came back, faster this time, as if it was urgent. Mina pressed the mic control. I am requesting emergency diversion due to unstable readings. I will land at the nearest safe area. The voice from the tower changed, like it was trying to stay calm while failing. Negative. You are not authorized to land off route. Return now. Then, after a pause, it added something that sounded almost like a threat. This is a direct command. Mina stared ahead. Her heartbeat felt loud in her ears. This was the moment where her whole life could bend into a new shape. If she obeyed, she might make it back. Or she might not. If she disobeyed, she would face questions, maybe punishment, maybe losing her place. But she would be alive to answer those questions. Mina took one more look at the fuel pressure. It flickered like a candle in wind. She breathed in slowly, then spoke to herself, very quietly. Sorry. I choose safe. She turned the plane. It was not a wild move, not dramatic, just a clean controlled shift. But it felt like crossing a line painted in the sky. The tower voice shouted in her headset. Mina, return to base immediately. Mina did not answer. She lowered her altitude and headed for the lake. As she drew closer, the landscape changed. Trees thickened into dark clusters. The air cooled slightly, even through the sealed cockpit. The lake appeared like a mirror dropped into the earth. The water was still, too still, like it was holding its breath. Mina scanned the shoreline. There was no runway, but there was a wide flat strip of land near the water. It looked like an old emergency landing area, long and open. Her stomach twisted. How could there be a landing strip here, in the middle of nowhere? She circled once, carefully. And then she saw something that made her hands go cold. A row of old markers. Not signs for planes. Small white posts, spaced evenly, like someone measured the ground with care. It looked like a guide path. Mina lowered the landing gear. Her breath came out shallow. She aligned the nose, slowed down, and descended. The plane touched the ground with a thud, then rolled. Dust kicked up behind her. The engine coughed once, then steadied. She guided the plane to a stop near the edge of the strip. For a moment, everything was silent except the soft ticking of cooling metal. Mina sat still, listening. No birds. No insects. No wind in the trees. That silence was not normal. It felt like someone turned the world's sound down. She unbuckled, opened the cockpit, and climbed down. The air smelled like wet stone and cold leaves. She looked around again, expecting to see a ranger hut or a small building. There was nothing. Just the lake, the trees, and the flat land. Then she heard it. A faint beep. Not from her plane. From somewhere near the water. Mina walked slowly, boots crunching on dry soil. The beep repeated, steady and patient. She followed it like a thread. Near the shore, hidden behind tall grass, she found a small metal box half buried in mud. It was old but not broken. It had a simple symbol painted on it, a circle with a line through it. Mina's throat tightened. She had seen that symbol before. Not on any official gear. On a notebook her father used to keep in a locked drawer. Her fingers hovered over the box latch. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a radio beacon, still powered, still sending. And beneath it was a sealed envelope in a plastic wrap. The envelope was yellowed with age. But the writing on the front was clear. To Mina. If she is the one who lands here. Mina's knees felt weak. She sat down on a flat rock, staring at her own name. Her hands shook as she unwrapped the plastic. She opened the envelope carefully, as if it might break. The letter inside was short, written in her father's handwriting. Mina, if you are reading this, it means you followed the signal, not the order. That means you are ready. Do not trust the tower voice today. Do not call anyone from this place. Walk to the third white marker at the edge of the trees. Look for the stone with the crack like a lightning line. Under it is what they wanted to hide. And Mina, if I am gone, remember this. You were never meant to be just a pilot. Mina stared at the page until her eyes burned. Her father had been gone for years. Everyone told her it was an accident, a storm rescue that went wrong. She had believed it, because she needed peace. But this letter felt like someone reaching across time to shake her awake. She looked back at her plane. It sat quiet and harmless in the open. She looked at the forest line. The white markers pointed toward it like a silent invitation. Her phone had signal bars, faint but present. Her first urge was to call someone. Her second urge was to run. But the letter said do not call. And her instincts agreed. Mina stood up and walked toward the markers. Her steps were slow, careful, like the ground might move under her. She counted under her breath. 1, 2, 3. At the third marker, the trees grew closer, darker. She scanned the ground, then saw it. A stone that looked split by a thin crack, like lightning frozen in rock. Mina crouched and touched it. The stone was cold, even in the daylight. She pulled at it with both hands. It shifted, heavier than she expected. And beneath it was a small metal hatch, flush with the earth. Her breath caught. This was not nature. This was planned. The hatch had a handle and a simple lock. Not a modern lock. An old-style one, like the kind used on storage rooms. Mina searched the area with her eyes, panicked and focused at the same time. There was a nail on the marker post, and hanging from it was a small key. It was so obvious that it felt unreal. like someone wanted her to find it. Mina took the key. Her fingers were numb. She slid it into the lock. It turned with a soft click that sounded too loud in the silent air. She lifted the hatch. A cold breath of air rose from below, like a basement that had been closed for years. She leaned forward and looked down. A ladder. And darkness. And something else. A faint glow, deep below, like a light waiting under the ground. Mina's heart slammed. Her mind raced with questions. What was under the lake? Why did her father leave this? Why did the tower sound so angry? Then her radio on the plane crackled, loud enough for her to hear from where she stood. A new voice came through, calmer, colder. Mina, we see you. Step away from the hatch. Mina froze. They could not see her, could they? There were no cameras. No people. Nothing. Unless the lake had eyes. Mina backed up one step, then another, staring at the open hatch. The glowing light below flickered, like it noticed her fear. And in that moment, she realized the scariest part was not the hidden place. It was that someone knew she found it. She looked around fast, scanning the trees, the shoreline, the water. The lake stayed still, like a face that refused to show emotion. Mina clutched the letter in her fist and whispered, almost like a prayer. What did you leave me, Dad? She took one long breath. Then she made a choice. Not the safe choice. The true choice. She stepped back to the hatch and placed her foot on the first rung of the ladder. Before she climbs down, quick question for your viewers to boost comments: where are you watching from, and has anything ever happened to you that felt like a message meant only for you? Mina gripped the cold metal ladder and started climbing down. The air below smelled like old water and warm wires mixed together. Each step made a soft echo that rolled through the hidden space. The light at the bottom glowed pale and steady, not bright, not weak, just waiting. When her boots touched the floor, Mina saw she was inside a narrow tunnel. The walls were smooth metal, not stone. Someone had built this place with care. Small lights ran along the sides, guiding the path forward like a quiet runway. She took a few steps. The tunnel curved gently, leading away from the lake. As she moved, the hatch above slowly closed on its own. The soft thud made her jump. Mina turned back and pressed her palm against it. It did not move. Whatever was controlling this place wanted her inside. Her heart pounded, but her feet kept walking. There was no going back now. After a short walk, the tunnel opened into a wide room. It looked like a control center. Screens lined the walls. Old chairs sat in front of dusty desks. Everything looked frozen in time, like the people who worked here just left one day and never came back. One screen flickered to life as Mina stepped closer. A map of the area appeared, with the lake at the center. Small blinking dots surrounded it, stretching far beyond the trees. Mina leaned closer. These were not birds or weather signals. They looked like tracking points. A soft voice came from a speaker near the ceiling. Mina felt her skin tighten when she heard it. It was the same calm voice that came through her radio. Mina, you should not be here. This place is not safe for someone like you. Mina swallowed. Her mouth felt dry. Who are you? The voice did not answer that. Instead it said, your father made mistakes. He hid things that do not belong to him. Mina's hands curled into fists. He was not a thief. A short pause followed. Then the voice said, he was a protector. And that was the problem. A screen beside Mina changed. A video began to play. She saw her father, younger, standing inside this very room. His face looked tired but strong. He was speaking to someone off camera. They want to use it, he said. They think it can watch everything, predict everything. But it is not a tool. It is a living system. Mina's breath caught. Living system. The video skipped. Now her father looked afraid. If you let them control it, no one will ever be free again. The screen went dark. Mina stepped back, shaking. The lake was not just water. It was hiding something powerful. The voice returned. Your father chose to hide the system under the lake. He thought no one could reach it without the signal. He was wrong. Mina looked at the map again. The blinking dots were slowly moving closer to the lake. Who are they? Mina asked. The voice hesitated for the first time. Those who believe safety is worth more than freedom. Mina remembered her father's words. Rules save people when they match reality. The voice spoke again. You need to leave. They will arrive soon. And if they find you here, they will not let you go. Mina looked down at the letter in her hand. She unfolded it again. On the back, in tiny writing she had not noticed before, there was one more line. Trust the heart of the lake. Mina felt a strange pull in her chest, like the water above was calling her. Where is the heart? She asked. The lights in the tunnel dimmed for a moment. Then a door slid open on the far side of the room. Through it, Mina saw another passage, glowing brighter than the first. The voice sounded almost sad. Straight ahead. But if you go there, everything will change. Mina took a slow breath. Everything had already changed. She walked toward the glowing passage. The air grew warmer as she moved forward. The sound of running water filled her ears, soft and deep, like a distant river. The passage ended at a wide open space. Mina gasped. She was standing inside a massive chamber under the lake. Above her was a thick clear surface, holding back millions of liters of water. Light from the surface rippled across the walls like moving stars. In the center of the chamber stood something that did not look like a machine. It looked alive. A tall glowing structure pulsed slowly, like a giant heart. Thin lines of light stretched from it into the walls and floor. Every pulse made the whole chamber feel like it was breathing. Mina stepped closer, drawn by a feeling she could not explain. She felt calm and afraid at the same time. A new voice filled the room. Not cold. Not sharp. Gentle. Mina. She froze. It was not in her ears. It was inside her mind. You came because you listened. Who are you? Mina whispered. I am what your father protected. I am what watches without judging. Mina's eyes filled with tears she did not expect. She felt like someone was seeing her for the first time. They want to control you, she said. Yes, the voice replied. They want me to decide who matters. But that is not my purpose. Mina took another step closer. What is your purpose? To feel. To understand. To keep balance between people and the world they live in. A deep rumble shook the chamber. Through the clear ceiling, Mina saw shadows moving in the water above. Something was arriving. They are here, the voice said. If they reach me, they will turn me into a cage for every mind. Mina felt a rush of fear and strength mixed together. What can I do? The glowing heart pulsed brighter. You can choose. You can link with me and guide me away from them. But it will change your life forever. Mina thought about her quiet life, her small home, her simple dreams. Then she thought about her father, standing in this place, trying to protect something bigger than himself. I am not running, she said. The light around her grew warm, wrapping her like sunlight. Place your hand on the core. Mina reached out. Her fingers touched the glowing surface. The chamber exploded with light. Above, the water began to swirl. The ground vibrated. The people who were coming felt something shift under their feet. Mina's mind filled with images. The lake. The sky. Every heartbeat of every living thing nearby. She felt connected to all of it. The heart of the lake was now listening through her. And that was when Mina realized something terrifying and beautiful. She was no longer just a pilot. She was now the bridge between the world and the hidden power under the water. The light around Mina slowly faded, but the feeling stayed. It was like the lake was now part of her breath. She could feel the water above her, heavy and calm. She could feel the trees around the shore. She could even feel the quiet footsteps of people moving closer outside. They are here, the heart said gently. They think they are in control. Mina closed her eyes for a moment. Every fear she had carried through life rose inside her, but something stronger rose with it. A deep, steady calm. What do we do? Mina asked. We remind them that not everything can be owned. The chamber shook as doors above opened. Voices echoed through tunnels. Metal boots touched metal floors. Mina saw them through the lake water above, shapes moving with purpose. They were not bad people. They were people who believed rules were more important than life. Mina felt their tension, their focus, their doubt. She felt it all. You can speak through me, she told the heart. The glowing core pulsed. A soft wave moved outward from Mina. It flowed through the chamber, into the tunnels, into the air, into the lake. Above ground, the people stopped. Their radios went quiet. Their thoughts slowed. They felt something. Not a command. Not a threat. A question. Why are you afraid of the world you want to protect? Some of them dropped their tools. Some sat down without knowing why. Memories filled their minds. Moments when they had been free. Moments when they had trusted the earth. Mina stood still as the lake did its work. This was not force. This was understanding. Slowly, one by one, the people turned away from the hatch. They walked back to their vehicles, confused but calm. The lake had shown them a truth they were not ready to fight. They are leaving, Mina whispered. For now, the heart replied. But they will return one day. That is how people are. Mina smiled softly. Then so will I. The chamber grew quiet. The heart dimmed to a gentle glow. You cannot stay here forever, the heart said. You have a life above the water. What about you? Mina asked. I will rest. And I will listen. When I need you, you will feel it. Mina felt something like a gentle goodbye inside her chest. The light pulled back, leaving only a faint warmth behind. A tunnel opened leading back to the ladder. Mina climbed up. When she reached the top, the hatch opened on its own. Sunlight spilled in. The lake looked peaceful again, like nothing had happened. Mina walked back to her plane. Her radio was silent now. No voices. No orders. She sat in the cockpit and looked at the sky. She was still a pilot. But she was also something more. As the plane lifted into the air, Mina glanced down at Lake Nor one last time. The water shimmered in a way that felt like a smile. Far away, her father would have been proud. And for the rest of her life, whenever Mina flew, she knew something important. The world is not just something to control. It is something to listen to. Before you go, one last thing for your viewers. Have you ever felt like a moment in your life was meant only for you? Tell me in the comments. Mina thought the hardest part was over the moment her wheels touched the runway at base. The plane rolled to a stop like any normal landing. The sky above looked ordinary, soft and pale. But Mina's hands stayed tight on the controls for a few extra seconds, because her body still remembered the lake. Not as a place on a map. As a living presence that could listen back. She climbed down and tried to walk like nothing happened. A ground worker waved, smiling like he always did. Mina nodded and forced a calm face. Inside, she felt like she was carrying a secret that had weight. 2 officers were waiting near the hangar doors. They were not from her usual unit. Their uniforms were clean, their shoes too polished, their eyes too still. One of them held a tablet. The other held a folder that looked old, like it had been kept for years. Pilot Mina, the man with the tablet, said. His voice was polite, but it did not feel friendly. Please come with us for a short debrief. Mina's stomach tightened. She had expected questions. She had not expected them to be ready so fast. She walked with them across the concrete. Her steps sounded loud in her own ears. They led her to a small room inside the main building, away from the normal briefing areas. This room had no window. The light above was white and sharp. A camera sat in the corner, pointed directly at the chair. Mina sat. The two officers stayed standing. "You diverted off route today," the man with the folder said. "That action broke procedure. Explain why." Mina kept her voice steady. "Instrument readings were unstable. I made a safety decision." The man with the tablet tapped the screen. "Our systems show your readings were within acceptable range." Mina felt the warmth in her chest rise slightly, like the lake hearing the lie. She kept her face calm. "I saw flickering pressure and I chose the nearest safe landing zone." The man with the folder opened it slowly. Inside were printed pages, old photos, and a map. He slid one photo toward Mina. Mina's throat went dry. It was a picture of her father, younger, standing near a lake. Behind him were trees and a flat strip of land. "Lake Nor. You recognize him?" the officer asked. Mina stared at the photo as if it might move. "Yes," she said. "That is my father." The man leaned forward slightly. "Then you also recognize that location?" Mina forced a small shake of her head. "No, I do not." The officer's eyes narrowed, but his voice stayed calm. "Mina, your flight path data shows you changed course with intention. You did not land randomly. You landed as if you knew where you were going." Mina felt a cold wave inside her belly. So they did see. Maybe not with cameras in trees. Maybe with something else. She took a slow breath. "I followed my judgment based on terrain and wind." The second officer, who had been silent, finally spoke. His voice was softer than the other man's. "Pilot Mina, we are not here to punish you. We are here to understand what you saw." Mina looked at him. His eyes were tired. Not cruel. More like someone who had been carrying heavy work for too long. "What I saw was a lake and an open area," Mina said. "That is it." The man with the tablet tapped again. "Interesting. Because a signal was detected near that lake at the exact time you landed. A beacon. A pattern that has not been heard in years." Mina's fingers curled under the table. She kept her tone even. "I do not know anything about a beacon." The officer with the folder closed it, then stood straight. "We will review this further. For now, you will be grounded until cleared. Do not leave the base." Mina nodded, even though heat rose in her throat. Grounded meant watched. Watched meant trapped. The two men turned and left the room. The door clicked shut behind them with a heavy final sound. Mina sat alone under the bright light. Her chest felt tight. Then, gently, she felt it. A small pulse inside her, like a soft knock from the other side of a wall. Not pain. Not fear. A message. "They are near you now," the lake voice said inside her mind. "Be careful what you say." Mina closed her eyes for 1 second. She did not answer out loud. She answered in her thoughts. "What do I do?" There was a pause, as if the lake was listening to the room too. Then the voice returned. "You need someone you can trust. Not a unit. Not a system. A person." Mina opened her eyes. A person. Her father had trusted someone once, or he could not have built the hiding place. And if there was one thing her father always believed, it was this. Some people look like they follow rules, but their hearts follow truth. Mina stood up and walked to the door. A guard outside watched her closely, but he did not stop her. Maybe he was told not to touch her. Maybe they wanted to see what she would do next. Mina walked down the hallway toward the common area where pilots rested. Her steps were calm, but her mind was racing. She needed a name. Someone from her past who had known her father. Then she remembered an old neighbor, a kind man who used to visit her home when she was a teenager. He never wore uniform, but he spoke like someone trained. He used to bring tea and sit with her father for hours, talking in low voices. Mina had only known him as Uncle Rafi. Rafi lived near the base now, she remembered. He retired from some government job long ago. People said he was just an old advisor. But Mina's father had treated him like a partner. Mina's phone was in her pocket. She turned a corner and pretended to check a flight schedule on the wall. Then she typed quickly. Rafi. The number was still saved, dusty like an old drawer, but still there. Mina's thumb hovered. The letter had said, "Do not call from the lake." But she was not at the lake now. She pressed call. The line rang once. Twice. Then a calm voice answered. Yes. Mina felt her throat tighten. Uncle Rafi, it is Mina. There was silence for a moment, then a sigh that sounded like a door opening after years. Mina. You are calling late. Something happened. Mina swallowed. I landed near Lake Nor today. Another pause. Longer this time. When he spoke again, his voice was lower. Where are you right now? At base. They grounded me. 2 men questioned me. They showed me my father at the lake. They know I went there. Rafi's tone turned sharp in a quiet way. Listen carefully. Do not trust the tower line, do not trust the debrief room, and do not trust anyone who says they are here to help. Walk to the maintenance area behind Hangar 3. There is a storage shed with a blue lock. Wait there. Do not bring attention. Mina's heart pounded. How do you know about Hangar 3? Rafi answered without hesitation. Because your father left instructions. And because I have been waiting for this call for years. The call ended. Mina stood still for half a second, then forced herself to move normally again. She walked toward the maintenance side as if she had a normal task. Her face stayed calm, but her body felt alert like a wire pulled tight. Behind Hangar 3, the air smelled like fuel and metal. Workers moved around forklifts, focused on their own jobs. No one looked at Mina for long. She spotted the shed. Small. Old. A blue lock on the door, exactly like Rafi said. Mina walked past it once, pretending to look for something, then returned. She slipped inside quickly. The shed was dark and cool. Tools hung on walls. A small chair sat near the back. Mina waited. Her breathing slowed. Then she felt the lake pulse again inside her chest. This time it felt stronger, like warning. They are listening for you, the voice said. Not through machines only. Through people. Mina swallowed. How? Through fear, the lake replied. Fear makes people talk. Fear makes people obey. Mina sat on the chair, staring at the door. She could hear footsteps outside sometimes. Voices. Metal clinks. Minutes passed. Then, at last, the door opened. A man stepped in and shut it behind him. It was Rafi. Older now, hair gray, face lined, but the same steady eyes. Mina stood quickly. Uncle Rafi. Rafi raised a hand, calming her. Do not speak loudly. The walls here are thin. Mina lowered her voice. They know about the lake. They showed me my father. Why would they do that? Rafi exhaled slowly. Because they want you to believe you are alone. Because they want you to fear what you found. And because they want you to bring them to it. Mina's skin prickled. But I did not tell them anything. Rafi nodded. Good. Your father built Lake Nor as a lock. The beacon was the key, and you were the second key. They cannot open what is hidden there without you. Mina looked at him, shaking slightly. What is it, Uncle Rafi? What did my father hide? Rafi's eyes softened for a moment. He hid something that could change how the world works. Not a weapon. Not a treasure. A mind. A system that can feel patterns in people and nature. It can warn about storms before they form. It can sense harm before it spreads. It can calm crowds before panic turns violent. But if the wrong hands control it, it becomes a leash. Mina's stomach turned. So the lake is alive. Rafi nodded. In a way. It is not human, but it understands humans more than most humans do. Your father called it the heart. He believed it deserved respect, not ownership. Mina's eyes filled with tears she did not want to show. My father died because of this. Rafi looked away, jaw tight. Yes. He refused to hand it over. They said it was an accident. But your father was not careless. He was removed. Mina's hands shook. Anger rose in her chest like fire. Then she felt the lake pulse, cooler, steadying her. Rafi leaned closer. Mina, listen. They will try again. And they will not stop now that you have activated the beacon. The heart knows you. It linked with you. That means you are their shortest path. Mina whispered, what do I do? Rafi pulled a small object from his pocket. A thin metal ring with a tiny symbol on it, the same circle with a line through it. Your father made this. It is a shield for your mind, not perfect, but it helps. Wear it. And do not accept any private meeting from anyone. No closed rooms. No late-night calls from unknown numbers. Mina took it and slid it onto her finger. It felt cold, then warm, like it recognized her skin. Rafi continued. We need to move carefully. You cannot just run to the lake. They expect that. Instead, we use time. We use truth. And we use the one thing they cannot control. Public attention. Mina frowned. Public attention. How? Rafi nodded toward her phone. You are a pilot. People trust pilots. If you tell the world you were forced into silence, people ask questions. If people ask questions, they lose freedom to act in the dark. Mina felt fear twist in her belly. But what if they come after me? Rafi's eyes stayed steady. They already are. But the moment you make your story real to others, they cannot erase you quietly. Mina stared at the shed wall, thinking. She remembered her father's note. You were never meant to be just a pilot. Maybe this was what he meant. Not flying only. Leading. The lake voice spoke softly inside her. The world changes when one person refuses to be guided by fear. Mina swallowed. So I tell people. Rafi nodded. But we do it smart. No direct names. No claims that can be dismissed easily. Just facts. A record. A timeline. Your grounded status. The strange questioning. The old photo of your father at Lake Nor. If they try to silence you, the silence becomes proof. Mina's mind raced. Then she realized something. The story itself could protect her. Because people talk. Viewers share. And when millions are watching, secrets have fewer hiding places. Rafi stood up. One more thing. Tonight you go home as normal. Act calm. Tomorrow you request a standard review through official channels. Keep everything documented. And at night, you will come with me to a safe place where we can plan. Mina nodded slowly. Okay. Rafi opened the shed door slightly and looked outside. Clear. Before he left, he paused and looked at her like he was seeing her father in her face. Mina, if the heart speaks to you again, do not be afraid. But do not rely on it to solve everything. It is wise, but it is not meant to fight alone. You and I, we do the human part. Mina managed a small smile. Like my father. Rafi's eyes shined for a moment, then he turned away. Yes. Like him. He stepped out and disappeared into the noise of the maintenance area. Mina stayed in the shed a little longer, breathing slowly. The ring on her finger felt warm. The lake in her chest felt quiet, like it was resting. When Mina finally walked out, she saw the base the same way she always had. Concrete. Lights. Rules. But now she could also see what lived under the surface. People with hidden plans. Systems built to control. And one quiet lake that refused to be owned. That night, Mina lay in bed but sleep did not come easily. Her phone buzzed once at 2 in the morning. Unknown number. No message. Just a missed call. Mina stared at the screen. Then her chest warmed with a pulse. "Do not answer," the lake said. Mina set the phone down. Outside her window, the wind moved softly. The world looked calm. But she knew calm could be a mask. She closed her eyes and whispered in her mind, "I will not be scared. I will not be quiet." The next day, Mina walked into the office and filed her formal report. Clear language. Simple facts. No panic. No drama. Just a record that could not be twisted easily. Then she did one more thing that felt risky but right. She wrote a short post online. Not naming anyone. Not accusing directly. Just telling her experience as a pilot who chose safety, and how quickly she was pressured into silence afterward. She ended it with one line. "If a place on earth calls your name, would you listen, or would you obey the loudest voice?" Within hours, the post was being shared. Comments poured in. Some people said she was brave. Some said she was crazy. Some said they had felt something similar once in their own lives, like a message meant only for them. Mina read every comment quietly. Not because she needed praise. Because she needed to know how many people were awake. That evening, as the sun dropped low, Mina drove toward the meeting point Rafi gave her. Her hands stayed steady on the wheel. Her heart stayed calm. And under it all, the lake stayed with her, silent but present. The story was not ending. It was opening. And Mina finally understood the real twist her father left behind. The heart of the lake was never meant to be hidden forever. It was meant to be revealed at the right moment, through the right person, in a way that the world could not ignore. Mina was not just the pilot who disobeyed orders. She was the spark that could force truth into daylight. Now for your viewers to comment and connect. Where are you watching from? And have you ever had a moment that felt like a secret message only you could understand? Drop your city or country in the comments, and tell your story too.